Hi, everybody. Roz McCarthy here. How are you? Happy Friday. Hope all is well. I'm here in, I was about to say sunny Florida, but I'm here in Orlando, Florida, live with you. Hello to Facebook. Hello to YouTube. Happy to see you guys. We were away last week. Today you have me. So please make sure you're pinging your friends. Make sure that you share this. We're going to have a great show today. I'm excited for our guest, and let me tell you why. I don't know if you guys know that August is Black Business Month and celebrating Black businesses. And there's nothing tougher than being a Black-owned business in the cannabis industry. And we have a great guest today. She's going to share a little bit about, how she started her business, what she's doing, the risk, the rewards, and success behind what she's doing. And I just initially just met this young lady, and I was just so super impressed that I said I have to have her on the show. So without further ado, let me introduce to you Ms. Desiree Anderson.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you.
That's awesome. Awesome. So I gave a little taste. Happy Black Business Month. We are celebrating Black-owned businesses. And so we talk about, being in this cannabis space and how tough it can be and how tough it is, really. And so we just want to, thank you for being on with us. And let's give everybody just a little bit, give them a little 30-second to a minute overview about who you are, the type of business you have, and like what you do.
Okay, so I'm Desiree, and I'm a CPA located in Atlanta, Georgia. And I actually started out as a hairstylist, believe it or not. I was a hairstylist for about 20 years. I owned a hair salon, so I've always been a business owner. Owned a hair salon, was a hairstylist, and that was great. But then I decided eventually to branch off into something different, because I always said to myself that I did not want to be a hairstylist at 50 years old, standing on my feet because I had to be. Let it just be a choice. So I decided to go back to college, and I got my degree in accounting, and basically the rest is history. So as an accountant, I started out focusing in on, and I still do, niching in on beauty industry professionals, because I was very, very familiar with that industry. And then about a couple of years ago, I got introduced to the cannabis space, and I met an accountant. His name is Andrew, and he's part of a group, or rather, he owns a group called Dope CFO. So
okay.
I'm sorry. Did you say
something? No, I'm saying, okay. No.
Yeah. So he actually introduced me to the cannabis accounting, and it was very fascinating, and it was so interesting. But what really baffled me about this, because I used to work as an auditor for the state, I was a tax auditor, and what was so interesting was that the fact that cannabis was illegal, and therefore businesses were not allowed to enjoy the privileges of normal businesses, but yet and still the IRS had their hand out, basically saying, give me your money,
Yes.
So you still have to pay them, even though it's illegal, and they don't give you the privileges. So that sort of fascinated me, and it was interesting. I just thought it was just totally unfair and just didn't seem right. Let's put it that way. So that's how I got interested in the cannabis space, so to speak, just to see, okay, well, what's really going on with taxation, and where are they now, and where are they going?
Wow.
So that's it. Yeah.
And so your background, so how did you transition? Were you always a numbers person? Like you went from being in the hair salon industry or what have you, and transitioning? Because let me tell you something, accounting was never my forte. It's still not my forte. It wasn't even an interest. What they call it, first in, first out, all that kind of stuff. I had no interest. Was that just something that you already knew was in a part of your DNA?
No, not really. Because when I was in school, I hated mathematics. I hated math. And you know what? Here's what's so very interesting. When I was because I grew up in London, and I dropped math in order for me to graduate. I said, okay, I don't want to take math. I'm dropping math. To hell with mathematics. I'm not going to take math. So I decided, and it was okay there. So I was able to graduate, get my high school diploma. I was all good. Came to America, and I came to America. I was 19 when I came to America. And then when I applied for my when I applied to go to cosmetology school, I showed them my diploma from England. Everything was fine, no problem. Then when I applied to college, they said, "Oh, wait a minute, you don't have math. That if you don't have math, then you cannot apply. You have to go back and take your GED." And I said, "What?" a GED. I said, can't I just take math because I already have my degree? They said, no, you can't just take one subject. You have to go for the entire thing. I was a little bit embarrassed when I walked into the GED office. I was embarrassed. Just in my mind, I was saying, oh my God, everyone's going to think that I didn't graduate high school. I got over that, right? So I was able to take the GED. I took it. I studied for it, and within 3 weeks, I was able to take all 3 sections. Then the 4th section was math. Saved the best for last.
Yes.
Hated math, but at that point, my mindset had changed. My mindset had changed. I was older, and I said, "Okay, I can do this, and I'm going to do it." And I actually passed it with flying colors. Went into college. I did math. Math was wonderful. It was great. Had no problems with it. But believe it or not, accounting isn't really about mathematics. If you can add, subtract, and multiply, that's all you need to know how to do. It's the laws behind it that you have to apply that information to all of the laws and the rules and regulations behind accounting and behind tax. That's where the complexity lies, and not necessarily in the mathematical area.
And don't you think also the discipline too that goes with, there's a discipline with accounting. There's so many businesses out here, and if you guys are out here and you own a business, either in cannabis or not, there is something to be said for having a good accountant, especially if we live in a country that you pay taxes, and your tax burden is based on how you report it and understanding how to report, and I may be off a little bit, so help me out, but understanding how you articulate that so you will be able to mitigate your risk as much as possible and lessen the amount of taxes, because no one wants to have to pay over it. Everyone knows we have to pay taxes, but there is nothing wrong with wanting to mitigate that or minimize that as much as possible. And I think that's what is really intriguing about your industry, is that you are the person that helps us to understand what our numbers are, business valuation. Talk about that a little bit.
Okay, so by the way, my father was an accountant, so maybe it was in my DNA. I don't know.
But it was in your DNA. I'm telling you, it was in your DNA. Listen, honey, listen. I love math, but I hated accounting, so it was in your DNA.
Well, yes. So taxes is one of those things that is going to be with us like death. It's going to happen. 2 things that you can be sure of. You're going to have to pay taxes, and eventually we're all going to die, right? Yep. So we want to compare tax. So there's tax evasion, and then there's tax minimization, right? So evasion is one thing. That's when you do things illegal to try to pay as little tax as possible. And then there is using the tax law to minimize your tax liability. Now, I always tell my clients, the most important thing you do as a business owner is to pick the business structure that is going to best suit you and your business. Now, that being said, when you first start out, you may pick a particular business structure, but you want to always think ahead. So you may start here, keeping in mind that you can change your business structure at some point, which you should, depending upon, what your numbers tell you. But usually we are taxed based upon the type of business structure that we are. And in some cases, certain business structures, it's easier to minimize your tax liability, depending upon what's going on in your business. And in others, it's a little bit more challenging when it comes to minimizing your tax liability. Now, one of the reasons why I say it's important to one of the most important things is picking your business structure is because everything that you do in business, no matter who you're dealing with, whether it be the IRS, the state, a third party, the banks, your business structure is going to dictate how they treat you. Now, if you remember during COVID, when they were giving out free money, so to speak, PPP loan, if you remember, everything was calculated and determined based upon your business structure. How they were going to pay you, or rather, how they were going to calculate your loan, whether or not you qualified for a loan, how much of a loan you qualified for, all of it was predicated on your business structure. Okay, and a lot of people realized real quick during that time that they have been doing things all the way wrong. Okay. So, that's one of the most important things when it comes to, because in order for me to, like when I'm working with clients and we're trying to talk about tax planning and tax minimization, one of the things that I look at first and foremost is your business structure. And then we sort of take it from there. Yeah, we sort of go from there.
And we talk about that. We do a boot camp, and our boot camp is so pretty awesome because the first thing we talk about in the boot camp is you can't go after a license until you understand your business formation in your respective state and understand how to set that up and what your goals are. So I'm excited because not only do we have Desiree on with us today, we have a young lady that's also joining us. And as soon as she's back on screen, we're going to pop her back up. But we're celebrating not only these beautiful women that are in the cannabis space, but these are Black business owners who basically they take a risk to say, listen, this is my passion. This is what I want to pursue. So without further ado, I want to bring Allie on stage as well. Hey, Allie girl. Hey.
Hey, everyone.
Hi, Allie. How are you?
How are you?
I'm fine.
Let me tell y'all something about Allie and why I have Allie and Desiree together. Because one, I am so in awe of both because they're both doing something that one, I know I don't have the strength to do and put together, but they do it and they do it with such excellence and integrity. And Allie is someone that she has created, taken her commitment to the industry, her passion for the industry, created a business model, created friendships and relationships, and now has her own cannabis expo, conference and expo that's happening this weekend. So, Allie, as we pause for a second, because we're going to go back to you and Desiree, it's all about you two today. Please introduce yourself to everyone. Tell them who you are. Tell them what you do. And then we're going to go deep into just the beautiful things that you're doing. So you got the floor.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, President Ross, for having me. And it's nice to meet you, Desi. But so really quick, that was a beautiful introduction. I'm like, wow. I'm a Leo. My birthday just passed. I'm a humble woman. But like she said, my real name is Alicia Reeves. Everyone calls me Allie in the cannabis industry because Allie really does mean ally. I've been in the Ohio medical cannabis industry since May 2017, when I used to work for the Cleveland School of Cannabis as the admissions officer, the guidance counselor, the bursar department. I was a couple different departments because we were a startup, and that was before the industry got started. Alongside of that, being the enrolling people into the school at the time, I created my company, Midwest Canna Women, as a place for minorities and all women to come and be able to advocate and have a place of their own to be able to communicate and network about the cannabis industry that was building up. I created it alongside of another former co-founder. Her name is Christine DeJesus, and we did it. You know, we started to create meetings and meetups, and then we started to do events. So this year, now that I'm alone again, Christine took a job at Galena's Cultivation, which is a level 2 cultivation here in the state of Ohio, about a year or two ago. So I've been leading this effort since then, since 2018, and just creating events in the inner city of Cleveland, where I'm from, at a farm called Ridall Green Partnership. It's 20 acres of land, and there are amazing Black men that own this farm. At a farm called Ridall Green Partnership.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, it's okay.
Okay, go ahead. So, I got my phone going up. Go ahead.
So I've been doing events there since 2018. That was my first cannabis event. I had found a couple people that were trying to open up and a couple ancillary companies that we came together, and it was over 227 people on the farm at the time. And now I did it 2019. It was close to like 200 some people at the time as well. And this year, you know, of course, we had to pause because of COVID, but this one is expected to have close to like 300 people and over and close to 40 vendors. So it's built. I actually got a chance to collaborate with my business partner, my friend. Her name is Nicole Ross. She owns a medical marijuana processing license here in the state of Ohio. And she's one of 10 that owns a license here in the state out of 141. So we created this event really just to highlight, to celebrate the industry and the growth, of course, and also to highlight minority operators in the space because, like you see, there's a lack thereof. I used to work for, you know, after I, backtrack, I worked for the Cleveland School of Cannabis up until February 2020, and I enrolled 92% of the students. So that's how I'm able to know so many different people that are in the actual industry here because I've helped them at some point, and now they have grown with these companies and they are in high-level positions. So we're all just able to still network and work together. But my business partner and I created this event to celebrate that and also to highlight minorities. And then because I was working for Green Thumb Industries dispensary, Rise Dispensary, from February 2020 up until June 1st. I resigned again from another cannabis job just because I had built my own company. I had learned a lot of different things about working with the Board of Pharmacy and the Department of Commerce and creating events legally for everyone to participate. But then I also wanted to celebrate the minorities that were working in the state of Ohio, and I'm letting all them in free. So yeah. That's just my allegiance to them, because I understand exactly what they went through, me being an employee of the state of Ohio for 15 months. It was a very brutal but amazing, experience. It was just brutal because, being a minority in the space, you have to deal with certain things, and being a Black woman from Cleveland is definitely challenging sometimes. Kind of hardcore a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I think
you have to be ruthless and fierce in this industry, in any industry, as a Black woman, just because it's always a different road we have to travel. So I'm blessed and honored to be here today, and I'm looking forward to the event. The weather is definitely going to be great. I don't care about rain. We're doing this rain, snow, sleet. Cleveland may snow on Sunday.
Are you serious?
Yeah, Cleveland is crazy, but no, I'm not going to speak that into existence. It's going to be a beautiful event. The sun always shines. It always says it's going to rain, but it always is an amazing day down at Ridall, and I'm just happy to have this experience with my business partner and my friend and I.
That's awesome. So let me reset the room a little bit for everybody that's joining us. I'm asking you to please make sure you share. We're celebrating Black Business Month this month, and we have two awesome ladies that are in the cannabis industry, and they are business owners. So these are not people that are like, they've worked for other folks, and they now are working for themselves in the industry. And we're talking about the risk, rewards, and success of being of just trying to, push through a brand new industry that seems to also lock out people of color. And so, Desiree, when you are with your firm now, are you working virtually right now, or how do you take on new clients, and how do you market for new clients, and how do you get the word out about what you're doing?
Well, yes, I do work virtually. I've been in the virtual space now since 2013. So I started working virtually even before COVID happened. But yeah, it's difficult to market. It's very hard. That's one of the biggest challenges of being in this industry. Even though I'm an ancillary, I cannot market on Facebook. Any kind of paid ads, I can't do. So really, I just do a lot of social media posting, just more or less organic. And it's what I did even prior to me getting into the cannabis space. Most of my marketing was really organic, because I found that when I do it organically, even though it's slower, but it was a lot more intentional, and I got the type of clients that I wanted. And the people that came to me, they weren't asking me 1,001 questions, because they already were familiar with me. They saw me somewhere out here on these streets, internet streets, right?
Right.
So and for me, having to do it organically is not, oh my God, I can't believe that I can't advertise, do any paid ads. What am I going to do? I just kept doing what I was doing. Now, it would be nice if I can actually do some paid ads just to speed things up a little bit, but it's almost impossible. It's almost as if everything that we say is a bad word, and we get striked out. So, on Facebook, on Instagram, all of that, So yeah, it's challenging. That's one of the most challenging things, actually, outside of course, banking being a problem. Even with an ancillary, it's hard to find banking. So there's so many things that are challenging about being in this space, but you just have to keep pushing through and just try to find, because there's always someone out there there's always a way. So you just have to figure out a way. And the best way to figure out a way is through networking. Just
Absolutely.
Through networking. Yeah. And that's how I found most of the things that I've been able to actually do. Most of the hurdles that I've come across, I've jumped them from meeting people through some sort of networking event, whether it be Clubhouse, where I met you, or wherever else.
Absolutely. Let me ask you a question. Allie, when you what's the temperature and the temperament of the regulated cannabis industry in Ohio right now? And you're getting ready to, if you guys are just listening in and didn't hear it, but Allie is the originator, promoter, creator of the Midwest Cannabis Say it for me, Allie. Hold on one second. Let me
So
make sure I
my
get
company, the company that I own is called Midwest Canna Women, and I created an event with my business partner that's called Midwest Canna Fest. Kind of played on
okay.
a lot of stuff.
Right. So what's the temperature and the temperament of the regulated market in the Midwest, and specifically because you're having this in Ohio? Are we seeing a lot of Black and brown businesses? Is it more of a restricted market? Can you give us a little taste of what that market looks like right now?
So as far as like ancillary, there are a couple Black owners of companies in the state of Ohio, but in the industry, the licensed operators, there are only about 10. The state of Ohio has very high regulated laws with the cannabis industry, period. I've been in Facebook jail before myself. When I used to work for GTI, and even before then when I used to promote my events. So I do understand. I think we've all created fake pages and did all that craziness, but I've stopped. And I just try to use generic, organic, like you said, but definitely bland and generic, verbiage to try to get over the hump. And also like using the word cannabis sometimes will save you from using the word marijuana. I think we've all dealt with banking laws and stuff like that, but it's very highly regulated. In the state of Ohio, I think just the work that I've been able to do, I'm blessed. I've been able to meet maybe the majority of the minorities that are in the space that are even trying to do anything. So it's not that many. It's probably under 100.
Yeah,
But we're
absolutely.
coming together. Yeah, we're coming together though, because we understand, the impact and how we have to create change. And that's really the biggest thing that I could say about my event on Sunday is, really seeing all these people from all these different walks of life that are in the space that are coming out to support and be present.
I think we should applaud you on your, just tenacity and the ability to pull it through. We're going to talk a little bit about like some of your highs and lows of that. And Desiree, I wanted to show everybody. Let me. So Desiree thought we met on Clubhouse, and we may have, but this is what stood out to Desiree. And I don't know how I got on her page. I don't know how this happened, but I'm going to share something with you guys. This is how I found Desiree. Hold on one second, guys. I'm gonna share my screen. And I got it. Share screen, we got this. And I got a tab I'm gonna share with you guys. And this is what caught my attention, this post that she put up. 10 banks that accept CBD businesses and give loans in 2021. This young lady put this post up and it was on Instagram, right? And when I saw that, I clicked on the link. And that was the most valuable information that I had seen in so very long. So I'm going to click on here and I'm going to see if I can pull this up for you guys. But Desiree, talk about just the content that you was able to pull up and how, like, what made you say, I'm going to push this out there on social media?
Well, because dealing with me personally, I'm an ancillary, and I couldn't necessarily find a bank. It was like, well, why am I having a hard time? I don't even touch the stuff. But that didn't really matter. The fact that you are even in the same room, let alone working with a person who does touch the plant, you were like a pariah. Like you were like, oh my God, no, we don't want anything to do with you. So I eventually did find a bank for myself. And I realized that even with my colleagues, they were getting their Stripe accounts shut down. They were getting their bank accounts shut down. And then a few of people that I worked with who were actually in the industry who were plant touching, they couldn't even get, they couldn't even find banks. And then when they did find a bank, they were charging them these ridiculous fees. It's like, oh my God, you're taking advantage of people just because. So right. I'm trying to make it somewhat of a mini mission to see if I can find banks who are willing to bank cannabis industry, the cannabis industry, who are willing to loan money fairly to the cannabis industry, because I just think that this space, because there's a lot of money in this space, but there are a lot of pariahs. When it comes to loaning money or people who are trying to invest in your business, they are, some of the deals are so unfair because they feel as if, oh, you're just so desperate. So we're going to go ahead and just say, okay, give us, I'm just exaggerating, 37%, or whatever the case may be, which just to me is a bit predatory, right? But they can get away with it. And then the banks, oh my God, like I had this one guy who approached me, who wanted me to introduce him to some of my clients that were looking for banking. But what I didn't like about what he was doing was his approach was to charge a fee to do an introduction to a banker. But of course, he helps you get all your stuff together, which in some instances I think it would be okay, because if you have issues, and there are issues that you have, then yes, I think it's a good idea to go through a broker who can help you with those issues, clean that stuff up before they put you in front of a banker. Because what you don't want is to take your issues directly to a banker and they tell you no. So if you know you have issues, you want to go through a broker and go that way. But if you don't have any issues, to me, you can just go straight to the bank if you're introduced through someone, but don't necessarily pay a fee, right? So there's just so much predatory lending going on, people taking advantage when it comes to banking, and even with the fees that they charge. Oh my God, they charge some ridiculous fees, but what are you going to do, right? Because there's not that much competition right now, so they can do that. And even if you're in a different state, let's say you're in one state where you can't find a bank, and then you find a bank in another state. Well, because this is a cash-based business, you have to figure out how you're going to transport your money from one state to the next. And those fees those services do exist, but even then, the cost is a killer.
Yes.
I personally think that one of the reasons why you have very few minorities, whether it be, Black, whether it be, Hispanic, or if you look at it from more of a class perspective, when you're looking at the money factor, is that it is so expensive to get into this space. You have to have money to get into this space. If you don't have money to get into this space, it's almost impossible. Recently, they gave Georgia licenses for medical marijuana. In order for you to have a grow for a smaller production, it was $50,000 for a license and $100,000 for a license for a larger grow. I mean, who can afford that, right? So the only thing that saves us would be the social equity programs. So you have different states that have different social equity programs that are very advantageous to people who either minorities or
But still, you still have to have funds, because you can get maybe the permit or the license, but the building of the capacity to become operational, those are the type of things that, I'm hoping this industry will be more craft growing, more craft retailing, more able to look at opportunities of, yes, I want to see more Black and brown businesses, but make it open, an open source, and I should say open source, but an open type of application process. For example, Michigan, you have to have certain things they ask for. When you have those things they ask for in order for you to apply for your permit, you can, that application process is open anytime. There's no number requirement or cap on licensing types. And so those are the type of things. So all of that, for everybody who's hearing this and saying, man, that's what we need. That's why policy is so important. And that's why if we look at like Ohio has, what was one of the first medical programs. If you guys don't know it, outside of California and Colorado and the West Coast, but on the East Coast, Ohio and Pennsylvania was one of the first medical programs that was regulated. However, the policy behind it, they even put a diversity requirement piece in there that we kind of, I would say here in Florida, we kind of lifted some of that language to help us here in Florida. But the policy was so convoluted and so still left out a whole bunch of people. And I think, Allie, this is what you've seen in your marketplace, why we don't see a lot of Black and brown people ownership.
Yes, because like I said before, I actually know when that law happened, like Ohio had a law that 16% of the minorities had to get a license. And then I won't go through the details because at my event, the people that were that endured this actually open, and they're there. One Black woman, her name is Ariana Kirkpatrick of Harvest Grow. She's the CEO and president. She was the one that was impacted by that law that Ohio had that you adopted. But now, after lawsuits and a lot of craziness in her enduring, she's the first Black woman to be vertically integrated in the state of Ohio. So that's a
Wow.
accomplishment. Yeah, she's amazing too. She's from Cleveland, like I am. She's been doing a lot of work in the city of Cleveland. But now she's going to be a guest speaker at my event to tell that exact same story that you're saying. I feel like once the MORE Act passed, it's on the floor in the Congress, you know, things will change. I've dealt with banking issues, and I remember one time I got kicked out of a bank with my company. I had $58, and I was like, well, I'll take my $58 and go somewhere else. You know, they think you they think you really like are trafficking cannabis. And even when you go to get a business bank account, they ask, you know, even if you're not selling it per se, do you work with them? You know, and I'm very transparent because I don't like the cops and the law. You know, I'd rather just be honest, you know.
Yeah.
And it is hard, you know, to fundraise. And there's a percentage that, you know, Nicole Ross and I talk about because she's raised over millions of dollars for her company too. And still, you know, she's operating, you know, she's the license holder. And we talk about that 1%, that percentage of Black women that have actually raised money. It's like 1.7. It's very, very small, you know, in the cannabis space, because you're right. Once you actually get operational, go through a program or get a license, you have to become operational. And that's the difficult task. And a lot of these states have programs, but Ohio doesn't yet. And that's one thing that I'm questioning them about. You know, I know a couple politicians, and I want to actually have a conversation with them to say, how can we get the minorities impacted and, you know, held on the cross involved in the industry like Illinois? You know, Illinois has a great program for minorities now because they're allowing the people that were impacted to have charges to come back and go into the cannabis space with funds, you know, hopefully. So we'll see.
No, I think a lot of it, you know, you have states like Illinois, New York, New Jersey, they're all coming online. But we also have to look at how they're promulgating, how they're creating the rules around these statutes. And so it's critical. Desiree, I got a question for you. When you are looking at like where you are right now with your business, we talk about the social media, I mean, hopefully you saw this. Did you see someone already wants to have a consult with you? So we'll make sure that you guys get Desiree's information so that you can reach out to her or what have you. But what do you get the most excited about what you do on a daily basis? What drives you, even when you can't advertise, when you have to see the organic growth of your company kind of slow, when you see business of color not getting opportunities, when it's hard to make those connections, what is it that pushes you every day to still continue the fight and to continue to push forward?
Well, first of all, I love what I do.
Yeah,
I absolutely love what I do. But what I do, I really, really get a lot of pleasure and satisfaction out of meeting business owners who are, first of all, passionate about what they do and who are trying to do things in a way that, number one, above board, and who are trying to excel. Because I love to see where they start and I love to watch them grow and to help them get there. I mean, there's nothing more satisfying than, it's almost like a painting. Or as a hairstylist, let me use it as an example. When somebody sits in my chair and they have little to no confidence because of their hair. Because, you know, to me, I think I can walk around here with raggedy clothes and no makeup on, which I don't really wear makeup. But as long as my hair looks good, I have some confidence. Okay. So have women sit in my chair who, you know, that they haven't been taking care of their hair. And then they come in like this, you know, walking. By the time I'm done with them, they're like this, shoulders up, head up. And you can just see that confidence and that pride. So you just built their confidence. And I feel the same way about what I do now. When the person comes in and everything is all over the place, they have no idea where to start, but they have that passion and that drive to really make it happen. And the fact that I can help them on the financial side, because every business, I don't care how great of an operator you are, you can love what you do and you can be great at it. But if you don't build that foundation, that financial foundation, it's just not going to happen. I equate it to a building. That you have your foundation, and which is your financial part, and then you build from there. You go to step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, and you're going to keep on rising. But if you don't build that foundation and you jump from no foundation to step 3, what's going to happen? It's going to come crumbling down. So I love to build that foundation to help businesses grow. And just the pride in people and how happy they are, how proud of themselves they are when they finally start to see, oh my God, I can actually do it. I can see it. I can see where I'm going. And that's what I enjoy. And that's what gives me a whole lot of passion and satisfaction, just knowing that. And knowing that, organic is slow, but once again, that's almost like a slow build. Anything that builds slowly normally stays where it is.
Great foundation. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's what drives me.
I think that's such a great analogy, because when I go see my girl that does my hair, and Charlie said, "Can you fix my situation?" He said, "My hair is fine, but I need you to fix me and my situation." So we hear you, Charlie. But we do, and I'm gonna give you, as Black women, when we sit in our stylist chair, and I'm sure white women as well, and different, but I can only speak from my perspective. And when you go there and you're not having the best, but your person spends time and gets you, and our hair is everything, it's our crown. It does make you feel so much better, and you feel like you can tackle anything. And so I think one of the other things is the fact that you have business owners who know their stuff is not where it needs to be, and they need to go into an environment where they feel like they're not going to be looked at crazy, or someone's going to be like, well, why are you doing this? Like, you want to go in an environment that that someone is, we don't want to be babied, but you also want someone to say, I got you, we'll fix this, giving you the positive affirmations. Don't you agree?
Absolutely, because if there's one thing that I do know, and this is just from listening to clients within this space and also within the beauty industry, which I'm still a part of, one thing that I notice, one thing that I hear a lot is they are embarrassed about their situation. And then they don't, and a lot of times they don't want to go speak with an accountant because they feel like they're going to be judged and say, well, why are you doing that? Oh my God, that's just such a mess. And I feel like this. I don't care how bad it is. I've seen worse. That's number one. Number two, this is not what you do. So I'm not going to, if your stuff was all together, I won't have a job.
Right.
So when you come in with your stuff all over the place and it's messy and you think it's embarrassing, believe you me, it's not. Because if I try to do what you're doing and I had no experience, where do you think I'm going? I mean, I'm going to look just as messy as you think you look to me. So I always say, don't ever be embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed, and don't deal when you're looking for a provider. Try to look for someone who is not condescending, who doesn't say to you, oh my God, what are you doing? Well, you should have known better. And you can tell when you're speaking with someone, are they looking at you saying, oh God, I can't believe this girl brought in all this big old mess to me. What was she thinking? She should know better. No, if you feel uncomfortable or you feel like somebody is judging you or being condescending, then I say try to find another provider. Don't worry about how messy it is. It's my job to fix it. That's what I do. And that's what I enjoy doing. I like to put the pieces of the puzzle together. It gives me satisfaction. So the messier you are, I'm your girl.
Listen, y'all. Listen, y'all. Hear this lady out. She is here. This is the type of environment that you want, and I mean, we're gonna get all of Desiree's information so you can find her on IG, that you can contact her. Let me tell you something. I have one thing I have in life is discernment, and I promise you, I hadn't talked to Desiree. Maybe it was on Clubhouse. Yeah, it was. It was on Clubhouse. She was talking, but I just went to her page, and I went to her page and just saw some of the things that she was talking about and posting, and just something told me. Not only did I share her information right away, but I immediately said, "I want you on my show." And you could tell when people give you the energy. They're giving you the advice that you need and giving you the opportunity to be great. And so God bless you on that, Desiree. Allie, same question for you. Like, when you are, and you're still in the thick of things, this expo on Sunday, which I will be there. So anybody that's in Ohio, if you're in Cleveland area, hey, Roz will be there. But like during the times when it wasn't all coming together and when you were stressed or whatever, what was your push to say, I can't stop? What made you know that it was just something that that you had to bring to fruition?
It's the people that nobody even cares about. That's what moves me every day. It's the people that people don't defend. It's the people that don't understand. I'm born and raised from the inner city of Cleveland. about 10 minutes from the farm that I'm actually going to be at. I used to work 5 minutes from this farm, never knew of it. But I come back to that because I know people need a voice, and I know people need to understand the cannabis industry, especially our communities, because they're always the last to get in. And I feel like more people would do more, especially in our communities, if they understood more and if they had opportunities to do more and hope. That's what drives me. Simple as that. It's nothing else. It's really the normal people. I love the cannabis industry. I love every single person I've ever met and worked with that are operators, that are ancillary owners. But I fight for the common people, the people that, I'll tell you a quick story. A lady about 80 years old, she donated something to me. I was doing a fundraiser, and she had experience. She used to be a drug rehab counselor. I sat in her house for 2 hours, but for 45 minutes, we was arguing, going back and forth about cannabis, because I was trying to help her understand. And I'm a patient as well, legal patient. I told her, I said, honey, I'm medicated really, really good right now. You can't even tell because the stigma is real. People think that because you consume cannabis that you are lazy, that you're a stoner, that you can't get things done. I actually am the reverse. My energy is high, so I consume too for pain, but also I consume indicas to calm me down. So it's really that, to change the narrative, because so many people think, oh, because you consume. I'm like, yeah, you can't even tell sometimes because I function at a high level when I'm actually medicated. I do. And that's everybody's own endocannabinoid system. But like I said, I fight for people like her because I sat there and talked to that woman for 45 minutes about cannabis, and she told me that she's going to show up at my event on Sunday. So I'm going to definitely introduce you to her, Roz, because it's going to be an amazing moment. She's from Cleveland, seen it all, heard it all. But those moments is what makes me move, for sure.
And can we, and don't you think, Allie, we cannot forget about the fact that cannabis is medicine, and that we have a percentage of the community that knows what the plant has done for them. They're educated. They know exactly, different strains or whatever works for them from a microdosing perspective. But it's that other huge piece of the pie that have no idea from a medical perspective. And I'm a medical patient now because I suffered a traumatic brain injury. Had it not been for cannabis, I wouldn't be where I am right now. And I'll be honest with everybody. When I first came on, like 2-3 minutes inside of the program today, I felt my brain, the concussion symptoms, they started kicking in. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, don't do it. Like literally, I have to every day manage these concussion syndromes. And if it were not for CBD and my ability to be able to control it with my tinctures and my capsules, so don't you think we have a responsibility to educate from a medical perspective? Don't you think? And because there's so many wonderful ways this helps our body.
I do, and I feel like I'm no medical expert. I give people the basic information that I understand, plus, other things. But I feel like to be able to network and connect with people that do have experts. Like I know doctors, I know recommended facilities, I know cannabis nurses, I know people that created, educational platforms. I know normal people that are just extremely intelligent that created products, so legal products. But, you have to, I feel it's an accountability right now. I think we're living in the times of trailblazing, like the people before us that trailblazed for us to be able to have opportunities now for, voting and everything else. Like we're just following our ancestors at this point and doing the same thing through cannabis. And it takes literally all of us really working together.
And we freedom fighters, girl. We freedom fighters.
Yeah, we are. I've watched Ohio build when there were no dispensaries. Imagine when I worked for the Cleveland School of Cannabis, there's no funding. You have to pay cash, like you said. So those people that were coming in there and, we had to get to being state approved and all that stuff. But I was enrolling people without any of that at first, with no dispensaries on the corner, no processing, just, it's going to be there in a minute, I promise.
And when I'm talking about this TBI, I have to give, I got to give flowers where flowers are due. You guys go find, and I'm going to put it in the chat right here. I'm going to put it on screen for you guys. But Artijan, which is a Black-owned company, CBD products that are medical grade, that's what pulled me through. And shout out to Dr. Adrian Adams. His wife, I think Dr. Adams' wife is Michelle, but his wife, who's an MD, Dr. Adams, they're out of New York. It's Auntie John. I'm going to put it into on the screen for everybody, but I have to give him love because he was just, when you're in need and when you are having this, when you're crashing, you need people around you. Like, okay, let's figure out what we got to get for you, and people just mobilize, and I'm so grateful, and so just thankful for just, and it's a Black-owned company, which makes my heart, not nothing against anyone else, but if I can't celebrate just the success, and that's why I have you ladies on today, because the celebration is about the work you're doing, about the connection that we can make for you, about the things that you see. Desiree, are you planning on attending any conferences, expos, anything that's going on? And if you are, tell us where you will be, or if you're not, let us invite you to come, because I think there's another powerful way of people getting to know you by, attending some of these expos that are coming up.
No, nothing on board right now, because this whole COVID thing is just scaring the living daylights out of me.
I understand.
So so that's one of the reasons why I'm not. And there are a few that I've looked at that would definitely interest me, but this whole COVID thing is scaring me. The only thing that I do have on tap right now, but it's more of an educational, it's more of a business side, that is for accountants, something in Vegas that is beginning. It's I think it's November 10th. And I may or may not even go to that. It just depends on how bad this whole Delta is. But I definitely will still. I would like you to invite me, of course, because you never know. Hopefully, this thing calms itself down, and I can actually get out there like a normal human being. But right now, it's just so scary for me that I'm just trying to stay put.
I know. No, listen, I get it. And trust me, Allie, I'm going to have my mask on, and I'm already vaccinated. I'm going to have my mask on. I'm going to love on people, but love on them from a distance, because I'm a touchy-feely, let's hug. And we haven't been out, and we attend these conferences throughout the year. But I'm fortunate that I'll be in DC at the National Cannabis Festival, and then I'll be taking off from DC coming to Cleveland. So as we wrap up, Allie, are there some words of advice that you can give, like anyone out there that's thinking about entering the industry, if they have an idea, any words of advice that you can share to give them encouragement or to give them something to think about as they're entering into this space?
I would say the one thing that you have to do first is love God. You got to trust the process. That's going to be important. You have to understand that it's going to be hard. It's really not as fair as it should be. But if you can endure and learn, and then if you're able to create something to support it, to work for yourself, trust God and trust yourself, get in tunnel vision and do it. Don't be scared. I was that person. I had to have my friend and my business partner, Nicole Ross, owner, COO of Nora Labs. And her, along this journey before I resigned, we talked a lot. And I'm the person that always keeps a job. And I'm not telling everybody to go quit your jobs and nothing like that. But if you have something inside of your soul that fuels you, because something inside of my soul burns me every second, every day, because I know it's bigger than me.
Yeah.
You have that, trust God and trust yourself, and just do it, because it's waiting for you. That's my advice.
I love it. I love it. Same question, Desiree. Again, your story, I just don't even know how you do it, to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest, because there's no kind of way you have a strong left and right brain. Even though there's not a lot of computation, you have this left creative side of you that creates, right? But then you have this right side of you that is not about, I guess there's a foundation of creating, but there is it's more process oriented. Yeah. And God bless you, sister, for what you're doing. It's not in a million years, I don't think I could do it. So, but what would be your advice, or, if you had someone that's just like, I got an idea, what would you tell them, some things to stick?
I would say, know your numbers. Know your numbers. Before you jump into anything, you have to know and understand what your numbers are, because I think not if you don't know your numbers. Okay, it's almost like driving a car blindfolded. You just put blindfolds on, get in your car, and you start driving, and you hope and pray you don't crash. Okay,
Right.
and if you don't know your numbers, you can't see where you're going. If you can't see where you're going, you can't get there. So before you even, if you're not in the space yet, and you're thinking that, okay, this is something that I want to do, and I have this passion, because we all say, oh, I have a passion for this, I have a passion for that, and I'm getting in this space, whatever space, because of my passion for the industry. But your passion is wonderful, but it's not going to sustain you. Okay. So before you even get in, you want to sit down and see, okay, what is this thing going to cost me? Okay. Let me be realistic. You want to create some sort of budget. Okay. You want to create some sort of pro forma to see, okay, let's see what we're working with. You start plugging in those numbers and being realistic about it.
Yeah.
You're going to make a decision either, oh, wow, okay, yeah, I have a passion and I can actually afford to move forward because based upon this pro forma, yes, I can see I have enough money to get me to where I'm trying to go. But if you don't, when you see it on paper, you're like, you know what, let me go back to the drawing board. And it might take me another 6 months to 2 years to get where I need to be. There is nothing like seeing it on paper. Like my husband, for example, he has his own business, and I'm an accountant, I'm a bookkeeper, I'm a tax preparer, I'm everything. Do you think that he does what he's supposed to do? When I ask him a question, he's like, I said the answer is not up there. I said it's not up there on the ceiling. It's not up there. I said you should be able to push a button and provide me with that answer, but he can't because he doesn't do right. He's my own husband. He doesn't do right. And I'm right here and I can help him. He just thinks that, oh, I don't have it in my head.
Yeah.
Up here is not, no, it's not, no. Take it from up here and put it down on paper. And when you do that, you can actually see exactly what you're working with and you can make more informed decisions that will help you grow or help you get to wherever you're trying to go.
Desiree, are you also a part of your role as a CPA? And what does the initial EA stand for behind your title?
So that's an enrolled agent. An enrolled agent, we are allowed to. Okay, so with the IRS, if you're having any IRS problems, you owe the IRS, you have IRS debt, you're looking for offer and compromise, you're trying to get penalties abated, anything to do with the IRS, if you're going through an audit, you have 3 entities that are able to help you, who are able to represent you before the IRS: a CPA, an EA, and an attorney. So basically, an EA is an exam that I took and passed that allows me to represent taxpayers before the IRS if they are dealing with any sort of tax issue. I can help you with the state or the IRS, or if we're going through an audit, I can represent you. So that's what the EA portion is, and it's called enrolled agent.
Awesome. So my question was, in your role as an accountant, when we have businesses that are looking to scale up and they're looking to eventually find investors, to understanding how to do their financials and also valuation of their businesses, is that something in your purview as well?
It is, and that's the CFO portion of what I do. So that's really to do that you would need a CFO, which is a chief financial officer. But before you can get to that point, you have to have all the other ducks in a row. So all of your accounting, your books, everything has to be in place. Your tax records all have to be in place. Once all of that is in place and built, then the CFO comes in and uses that information to help you make decisions, to help you grow. Because really, a CFO is a strategic partner. Our job as a CFO is to help your business grow from where you are to where you want to go. So we use all that data that was created by the bookkeeper or by the accountant, and we use that data to help you make informed decisions. Now, you can find, like in my case, I happen to be a CPA and a CFO. So I do it all. I'm a one-stop shop. But if you're working with an accountant who maybe doesn't do CFO work, then all of the information that your accountant creates for you, your CFO would need access to that. Mm-hmm. So they can help you to scale your business from where you are to where you're trying to get to.
So we're gonna have to talk offline. I might have to talk to you about something, Desiree. I think I'm telling you, something is telling me here. I just love it. So you guys, I want to make sure that we give everybody a shout out as we wrap up for this afternoon. I'm gonna tell you something. Get on Canna Talk with Roz. It's easy as a breeze. I want to tell if you're out there and if you haven't been on yet and you're like, Roz, I really want to talk about, I'm an expert in something, I have an expertise, I'm in the industry or whatever, send me a direct message. I'll do my best. We're gonna try to get folks on, but it's easy. I mean, do you understand how much we learn every single Friday? Like I've learned so much in the last 55 minutes. So let's go and let's make sure that folks know how to reach you guys. So first, you know what, Allie, what's your website for the event for this weekend?
So my website is actually down right now, but you can always contact me through social media. I promote.
What's your IG?
IG is my company is Midwest Canada Women, and on IG my name is the Allie Reeves. But you can contact me through Midwest Canada Women on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. Yep.
All right. Oh, that's what. Sorry, I got the wrong one up there. Okay, IG at Midwest Canada Women. All right. So if you guys want to see Allie, you want to support Allie, information about the conference going on. This woman has taken a concept. And let me tell you something. And she didn't try to go do the whole entire country. She went into her community, Cleveland. You can't get more Midwest than Cleveland, can you? Right? So she really targeted her community, created a name for her brand, a name for her company, and now has this conference and expo that is coming out on this Sunday. And I'm so pleased to be a part of it. I salute you, my sister. I'm proud of you. If you didn't know it, don't let nobody tell you any different. I'm proud of you and excited for you. So that's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming too. I swear, like it's I swear I've seen this company for years and always wanted to connect. You know, I tried to get you before, but thank you so much for being a part of this, and your support is invaluable. So I appreciate
it. Absolutely. All right. So Desiree, how can folks find you, my love? What's your IG?
IG is Anderson. That's my last name, and then accounting.
Okay, so let me make sure I'm typing this as we speak, because I got a feeling folks are about to blow you up.
Yeah, Anderson Accounting, number 3.
All right, number 3. Okay.
And that's my IG. Yeah.
Okay.
And then my website is Canna, CANNA.
Okay. Hold on one second. Let me make sure I'm writing this down. You guys see her IG. If you're on social media, that was the other thing I did. As soon as I posted, I reposted. I made sure I gave her credit for it because it wasn't Roz. It came from Desiree, and encouraged people to go follow her. So, and she has great. You have a couple of graphs about some oh gosh, I'm sorry guys, about some future, about some predictions of some of the industry predictions and some things I saw on there as well, that you just posted a couple of days ago. So you guys make sure you check out Desiree. But what's your website again?
It's Canna, CANNA. .AndersonAccounting3.com.
Anderson Accounting
3.com.
Where's that 3? Where's that 3 come in?
Because Anderson Accounting was taken.
Okay.
So I said 1 was taken, 2 was taken, and 3 was there.
All right, there, and there you have it. So that's her IG, guys, and this is her website, www.canna. I did it wrong. Hold on. Because did I do it wrong? Is that right?
Anderson Accounting. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. All right. This is how you get in contact with Desiree. I know you. Hey, if you know what I know and you see what I see, you better listen. This young lady knows her stuff, and we are super proud. Thank you for making the connection with me, Desiree. Thank you for trusting me. Listen, she know me from Adam Housecat, and she was like, "Yes, I'll be on." I'm gonna be honest with you. She know me, and she trusted me and trusted Canna Talk with Roz, and just said yes, I would love to be on. And we were supposed to be on last week, but we had some problems, and I was traveling. Something was going on. So thank you so much, Desiree, for being on today. I appreciate you. Shout out to everybody that follows us. Y'all, man, listen. No matter what, y'all be in the building. I appreciate you so much. Giving a shout out to, let me see, my friend, my good buddy, Dr. Adrian Adams, guys. John, I told you about that CBD. It's the bomb. Dr. Adams, we got to get you next time they have the Midwest Conference. We got to get you coming there with a booth. You come on with me. Just bring your stuff. Listen, this is how we get down. So, guys, man, it's been a great day. It's gonna be a great weekend. If you're gonna be in DC, we're at booth 13C at the National Cannabis Festival. Allie, I don't know what booth I'm at. I'm just gonna be pulling up with my stuff. You'll see. But
the farm is 20 acres. I got you.
All right, don't worry. We will be in Cleveland at the Midwest Cannabis Festival Conference and Expo. Make sure you guys have a great weekend. Take care of yourself. Next week, we're in Miami all week long. We're at the Orange Blossom Classic in Miami. We have an expungement fair going on. I'm telling you, M4MM, we don't play around. We are there. We're in the community trying to do our best to make a difference. It feels good. It warms my heart. Shout out to all the M4MM family out there. I love you guys. Have a great weekend. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Take care.